Mr. Paxton has been entrusted with great power. Unfortunately, rather than rise to the occasion, he has revealed his true character. And as the overwhelming evidence will show, he is not fit to be the Attorney General for the state of Texas.
At the end of this, you will come to know what I know, that despite all of us being told that the evidence in this matter is 10 times worse than the public knows, it is instead 100 times less. There is nothing here to support impeachment, nothing.
Suspended Attorney General Ken Paxton's impeachment trial gets underway in Austin, bringing the top lawyers in Texas to argue whether Paxton should be removed from office. It is a day months in the making. The impeachment trial of the suspended Attorney General just wrapped for the day on the Senate floor in Austin. Thank you for joining us. I'm Cynthia Izaguirre.
And I'm Chris Lawrence. Paxton faces 16 articles of impeachment related to corruption, bribery, and misuse of funds. We have crews following the latest developments in Austin and North Texas. In fact, here's a live look at the Senate floor where they just adjourned for the day moments ago. Testimony will resume at 9 a.m. tomorrow. But first, let's look at three key developments from today.
This morning, the Texas Senate rejected all of Paxton's efforts to dismiss the articles of impeachment against him. The pretrial motions required a majority vote. The most support a motion received was 10 out of 30 senators.
They recessed for lunch and the trial resumed around 1 p.m., but Paxton himself wasn't present for opening statements. Prosecutor Rusty Hardin argued he should be compelled to be there, and Dan Patrick agreed. But the lieutenant governor later clarified Paxton was only required to be in the courtroom for part of the day.
And another important takeaway, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick ruled Paxton does not have to testify. Paxton's defense team argued he deserved the same protection as any defendant in a criminal trial, and Patrick agreed.
You know, one side took full advantage of the allotted time to make an opening statement, but the other didn't feel a need to. Our Natalie Haddad joins us from the newsroom to break down the initial arguments from both sides.
Hi, Chris. Hi, Izzy. Opening statements began with the investigating committee that first delivered the articles of impeachment against suspended Attorney General Ken Paxton. Chairman and Representative Andrew Murr outlined what he and investigators called a pattern of deceit. Now, in his 17-minute opening statement, Murr pushed back against Paxton's claims that he can't be impeached for conduct that predated his most recent election. This was a pretrial motion Paxton's team filed, but ultimately the Senate denied it. Murr also argued that Paxton's conduct didn't need to be criminal to justify his removal from office. Then, in a fiery and much more lengthy opening statement and response, Paxton's attorney Tony Busby claimed, quote, "This whole case is a whole lot of nothing." Taking nearly the full hour allotted to them, Paxton's team made sweeping promises that they would disprove the accusations listed in the articles of impeachment. Take a listen to both sides.
The drafters of our state constitution recognized that there are times when this extraordinary remedy is needed to protect the state and its citizens from a public office holder who has abused the power of his office by putting self-interest above that of the people of Texas.
The House didn't bother to vet this foolishness, and now they've put it right in your lap for you to do the work that they failed to do.
Allegations against Paxton include bribery and abuse of office to help a donor who we know as Austin businessman Nate Paul in exchange for a home remodel and a job for Paxton's mistress. I'll send it back to you, Chris.
All right, Natalie, you know, we know a lot of you weren't able to watch opening statements, but if you want to go back and see what you missed, we're making it pretty easy to do so. We posted clips from each side on our WFAA YouTube page. Now, this impeachment shares some characteristics of a civil or criminal trial, but elected officials fill the traditional roles. The quote-unquote courtroom is the Texas Senate, and Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick is acting as the presiding officer or judge. The jury is made up of members of the Senate who are present and eligible to vote, and House lawmakers make up the prosecution team. The House Board of Managers is comprised of 7 Republicans and 5 Democrats.
Again, this is not a criminal trial, so if Paxton is found guilty, he would be removed from office, not imprisoned. Governor Abbott cannot pardon him. If he's found not guilty, he can return to work as Attorney General.